Alright, hello. I hope I'm on the right stream. I should be. Alright, I am. Good, excellent. Now I am unlisted. Customization. Anyone? How do I choose privacy? I really need to like fix this up. Analytics, stream health. So manage. God. Fuck. Unlisted, make that public. Thing. Publish. Hello! Welcome, everyone. Is it working? It should be working. Alright, hello! Welcome to my 3D stream. Hopefully this doesn't hit the shitter, as I would say. Alright, let's hide my Spotify. Right, so if you don't know what I usually do here, I go in and I make stuff in Blender. And yeah. So today, you know, I've been working on the avatar recently to replace my current one. And its name right now, well, at least it's called Holly. It's a lot of fun working on this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of annoying as well. Hold on. Let me get the stream link for people. I need to actually, you know, check it. So sorry. Give me a minute. Alright, I'm back. So we should be more sorted out now. So basically, yeah, we're currently we're working on the blend shapes. So we've got obviously all of these to set up. Now, one of the things is I wanted to set facial tracking on this model, so we're aiming to get all of these matched. Now we currently have, you know, most of these done. We've got obviously our like lower left. These like kind of more specialist ones that we need to kind of set up. How I usually do these, especially when setting up facial blend shapes, you kind of need to like do it's a lot of playing around, but I kind of align the model's cheeks to mine. I try and get the nose lined up, just about there, and you'll see that the top, so this is the upper lip right, you can actually see that the lip is moving to the right. So one of the things now we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go in and change it a little. So if we go in, and you'll see that I'll be able to shift this one. So just a lot of like small little playing about with it. Now obviously I haven't set that up with the blend shape, so keep in mind when I say blend shapes from this point going forward, I do actually mean shape keys. It's just Blender and Unity have a bit of a mismatch. So, upper lip, right. Usually you want to follow like a normal naming convention, just to, you know, keep it normal. So you know what you're working with, like, for each of these all are associated with a name on here. And it's just so I can work easier. It's literally as simple as that. I'm gonna just grab the lip, because while there is a bit of deformation, it's just kind of easier to set it up this way. Set that to 1, then we move it across. And then we kind of go and we do our touch up just around these edges, and you'll see here that that's actually supposed to kind of come back more back this way. It's not supposed to move nearly as much. You notice that with a lot of this, it's just kind of like... Now, I am breaking one of the fundamental rules with this. I am doing a lot of deformation, which means that the textures on this is are gonna be a bit funky. But you know what, it's fine, I'll just put like a toon coloring in and call it a day. You know, don't really want to overdo it too much. Make sure that the face is kind of more consistent. You'll see the, you know, the lips kind of move there. Just try and make it look less malformed. Now, you do want these kind of to be a bit over-exaggerated because, well, what do you call it? You are gonna be... You will be, like, using these a ridiculous amount. See that it looks weird because it's kind of deforming. It's like, oh, I'm stretching. Get your mouth. You know, when you move something. So your upper lip can't really move that much. Your lower lip can, but that's because the jaw kind of moves a lot. So these may actually be jawbone restricted. Upper lip left, upper lip right. These are really funky on the setup. I may just cut that one real quick because, you know, I mean, this is the thing. A lot of, you don't realize this, but a lot of 3D modeling is just constant trial and error. We're just gonna, like, you know, work through this. So, tongue out's our next one. We'll do all the tongue ones because they'll, you know, kind of be nice to work on. On our to-do list right now, we've done that, we've done those. It's this section here. The overlay and all the lip stuff. And then some of the jaw stuff. Everything else is set up. So the stuff in red are the essentials, right? Jaw open and pout, right? But like all these extra ones are just kind of like, you know. But yeah, so we're just gonna like work through the tongues here. So I'm like currently just messing around with my mouth too, trying to figure out. Because that's one of the things, once you understand it on yourself, you tend to be able to do like a lot. Is this showing I'm streaming on Discord? Of interest? No, it is not. Ugh. But say my Discord is like one of the few things I actually do like. Much as I don't like the jump scare of someone joining me in my VC, it is fun. Hold on. I'll be honest, most of this is there you go. Why can't I just have my stream link set normally? Alright, But you'll see here that the tongue is inside the mouth. Now, this tongue could probably do with a bit better modeling, if I'm being honest. Perfectly honest with myself. But it is what it is. It's built to align kind of with the lower, because like obviously your tongue's kind of like aligns with like the bottom of your teeth. And then, you know, obviously that comes out of your mouth. Another thing to note is you want connected on, or connected only, because it means I can affect this with proportional editing without affecting any of the other mesh. Very useful whenever you're, you know, doing stuff, and a lot of it. So currently we're doing tongue out, and one of the things that I'm gonna have to quickly just check. What does tongue out actually look like? So tongue out is literally just the tongue forward, but, you know, stretched. You know, you can see that from the resting position to that, it's stretched. So, actually, you know what, I'm gonna do a bit of a better job at doing this. Hold on. F3 blend. Blend from shape, and then you select the shape you want. Just tongue out. There. Basically, what I just did there is I've said, okay, I have a blend shape I want you to be. You can change between any other state. Like I can make it 2, I can make it 1, whatever. But I'll just, you know, change that and add it on. So, yeah. Now, one of the things I wanted to do here is, you'll see that, you know, my tongue is very flat, right? Just, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have a look at here, there's more of an arch and then an crevice. So I'm gonna, like, give this a bit more of an arch, you know? Try and, like, match up with it. Probably be better just doing, like, an edge. So you'll see here I'm doing that. And then I am going down the middle. And then I'm going to go shrink this. And then this gives me kind of the tongue detail I'm looking for. You'll see there's now got the depth. It's got that line down the middle. Which is what we're kind of after. And from the resting position, it looks pretty much fine. Now obviously I don't have the same amount of polys as the other does. So I'm not going to be able to get like this beautiful, perfect kind of tongue. But you know what? It's as close as you can get with the amount of polys I'm working with. Which, if you don't know, this is actually one of my super duper optimal models. So the facial tracking on it is very rudimentary. Now I'm going to have to obviously go through and slowly remove stuff, but you know, whatever. We scroll down, tongue out, you know, so we still increases in size, so we're just gonna like recreate this. I do apologize if I sound really terrible. This is like slowly killing me. I've kind of been feeling a bit sick recently. Alright, so basically what you want to do, you want to select your edges, you want to effect. For us, that's going to be the front two, because obviously it's going to come out, stretch that, and if we compare it to the example, it's, you know, just a bit further past the nose. So we want to bring ours out a bit further beyond the nose, like that. Now you'll see that may have moved the entirety of it. Now obviously we don't really want to have too much of that. Kind of need some of it to stay in the original position. So we'll just move this back to try and get that. Now that looks like it's stretching. Another thing, obviously whenever your bottom of your mouth doesn't have that weird shape that we were trying to create. So we're gonna, like, you know, move, stretch it out a little, and then move that down a little. Now you have kind of a more flat shape or whatever. And there you go. We've just done our tongue out, which is, you know, good. tongue out, it's just straight out. It's like kind of just an extension. Now, probably do want to make it a bit thicker on the basis. Makes the tongue slightly thicker, but yeah, that's that so far. And by no means do you have to do it the way I'm doing it. I mean, that's the beauty with most 3D modeling, is it's all kind of very special depending on what you're doing. So, the next one we're gonna have to do is tongue up. Now, ideally I would have more polygons, as I've said previously. The problem is, obviously, is I don't have that many polygons, so there will be a lot of stretching on the textures, so I'm going to be using some shader wizardry to, like, kind of hack it. So, obviously for the rolled tongue, you'll see here that it curves up, so what we want to do is we want to get that curve up as well. Now we want to try and avoid a lot of this, like, deforming that kind of happens. So you'll see there, that's my tongue up. So if we combine them together, because that's tongue out and then tongue up, you'll see that that's kind of got a bit of warping around the edges, you know, so I think that's more with the shape of the mesh. You'll see that there's slight problems there. So we'll just go through and we'll tidy it up a little. So you just remove your poly thing, shrink it down a little, and then you should have solved some of the weird warping issues. This is what the tongue is going to be like. It's just going to be a lot of like slow improvements to, you know, make it look a bit better, because, you know, tongues are hard. So you kind of... So one of the best bits of advice I have is just don't get intimidated by 3D modeling. There we go, that's our tongue up. Sometimes these can take very short periods of time, sometimes they can take very long periods of time, so we'll go with our tongue down. This is what that's tug. Same thing, we take our tongue, our first two pieces there, and then we rotate. But this time, rather than up, we rotate down. And remember, we want to over-exaggerate our poses, because facial tracking do be funky. Now this one, so if we, you know, combine those together, I kind of do want it to... So that doesn't bend an awful lot very well. So what we want to do is we want to increase the radius and rotate against our line and then push it in just a little bit more. Pull our tongue out, looking a bit better. Probably want to drag it down a little. There you go. One of the things I'm noticing from doing this a lot is, you know, you'll see that there's a bit of warping on the bottom. You know, obviously we'll go back here and we'll fix a lot of that up. So if we go in, we'll see this bunch of warping here. So we'll, you know, make this maybe a bit longer, make this go down a little. Probably decrease the amount of stretching on the top here. It's not normal for a tongue to bulge that much, I don't think. Pretty much the very doggy kind of tongue. Yeah, so that works. We got our tongue up, and then we've got our tongue down. And it kind of matches up the best we can to our, you know, actual thing. Now we've just got our tongues left and right. Which one are we doing first? Tongue left. So if you do your tongue left and right, in real life, you can start to like kind of like break down how the shape would work or how it would wrap around your face. So the thing is that the tip of the tongue, it can change shape depending on like how far you try and push it out. But it roughly stays the same, right? Take that as your reference point. When you move it to your right hand side of your mouth or the left hand side of your mouth, you'll feel that the tip goes to the left and right. So what you want to do here is, just like with your normal mouth, you want this tip to be going left and right. So we'll do tongue left first. Yeah, so take that, set that to 1, and we'll get started. Same thing as before, you grab your tip, and then what you do is you grab your rotate and you rotate. Now this will cause some warping. What you'll want to do is you'll want to, like, you know, slowly change it. Then we'll do our tongue out. Now that's causing a bit of weird shaping. So we're obviously trying to bend it too far out, right? So more of it needs to bend. Increase the size of it, bring that down, and bring that back. And we can, like, you know, kind of fine tune it, raise out that tip. We've kind of got a better approach now. It's gonna have a weird shape to start off with, but we're gonna work with it. So you can see, it's a bit more sharper on your tongue like that, right? So we're gonna go back into tongue left, and we're just gonna go in and we're gonna fine tune this. So it's a little less warping, because most things tend to keep a very similar scale. You'll see instantly, by just moving those, we've made our tongue look a lot better. So we still have our little bit of touch-up to do, so... You know, our tongue left, you'll see that there's that face. Doesn't really align too well, so we're gonna bring that in. Reason why is just to remove that kind of weird artifact thing. And there's a bit tighter of a bend actually around the mouth. So we're gonna like kinda retreat that in a little. We're still gonna bring this across a little. And there we go. We've kind of got our tongue left. So, one of the things is obviously, like, you don't want to do too much work, right? You want to... Tip to being a good 3D modeler is being a lazy 3D modeler. Which is funny enough, kind of true. So one of the things you want to do is, you know, we've got this blend shape for tongue left, and we've got tongue out. You know? Actually, I may make that a bit tighter. Yeah, hold on. Let me just make that bend a little bit more tight. And now we just need to kind of like straighten out our shapes again. Try and do a bit more of a rotation. Now obviously I'm gonna try and like bring some of these shapes more across. Tongue left, and then we'll do tongue out. Alright, now we're gonna go back. Don't touch which has already been worked with. Make it tongue out. Tongue left. And we'll just make it a bit more stretched on over here. Maybe a bit less. Just kind of fine-tuning it at this point. So my advice here is just play around. So you'll see there, right? We've got a good tongue to the left. That's not the best tongue to the left in the world. I mean, we still need to do a bit of tidy up. You get your problematic vertice and you just, you know, because it's usually you wouldn't be working this low poly, so you wouldn't have these kinds of issues. But if you do find yourself having these issues, you just kind of want to like kind of bend them back into position. Let me just raise this up a little. Flip it more organic. Bring down the tip a little, because that tip is kind of Alright, there we go. So we see we've got ourselves a mouth that looks decent enough, or a tongue. One of the things we want to do now... usually you'd want to have bones or something, but it works, it's fine. It's just more, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's kind of really irritating because, you know, it's not bending the way I want it to. Which is unfortunately how these kinds of things go, you know, they kind of don't bend too well with blend shapes. I would recommend if you do end up going down the route of doing these kinds of blend shapes that you do use bones. That's what I'm doing with the jaw. I didn't realize it would be kind of like this for the tongue as well. You want to kind of hold the topology still the same. Causes like less kind of deformation. You'll see the way when that moves, it kind of deforms inwards. But yeah, I mean, that's decent enough. So, you know, I don't want to model that again. You saw how much effort went into that. So what we do is we set this to 1. This is our current mix. So then we go over and we say new from mix. And then basically that's what that's saying is it's like, okay, this is the shape I wanted to hold. So that's it at its max value, right? You've got your tongue there, it moves. Looks cool, right? You can then go over, I'm gonna just do this now, tongue right. You've got that, and then you just go mirror shape key. Now, 91 have failed, 91 polygons, that's the eyebrows. I was stupid, I added the eyebrows after the symmetry, but you'll see here, it's... actually, hold on. That's not good. Maybe it is the tongue which is causing problems. Alright. Yeah, so you'll see that there's certain polygons on the mesh that haven't really worked too well. What we want to do is we just want to kind of like bring them back to reality. It's fine, sometimes these things break, but it's a lot easier to fix this than some other things. Just figuring out where each of these connect, you'll see that that one goes about there, this one connects up there, and this one kind of connects up underneath. And it's just like slowly fitting them back into position. Now usually you would have symmetrized your mesh properly. I, for whatever reason, haven't. And I don't know why I haven't. But there you go. Though the good thing is if it's 91 vertices that are causing the problem, it's only going to be like this mesh and a few other things. Like the eyebrows, as I've said earlier. And you'll start to notice that things start looking a bit more, well, human. Which obviously the whole goal of it all. One's there, connects up. We've got that. So this connects up underneath. And you can start trying to figure out where all the topology goes again. So you'll see that it kind of loops around like that, and then that's supposed to bend down more like that. You start to see all the stuff with it. Now obviously this isn't going to be perfectly symmetrical now because, you know, we've had to modify the mesh to get it working again, but it's whatever, you know. It's irritating and it probably won't make the facial tracking much better, but nothing nice comes easy, am I right? Now, our tongue goes to the left. Now obviously if we were to bring it to the middle, it would skew itself into oblivion. But I mean, it's the same if I was to, what do you call it? If I was to combine two other things affecting the same mesh. But the thing is you have to remember is, if my tongue's going to the right, surround the pole isn't gonna like say, okay, it's going left and right to the center. I'll just go back to its default value, the rest, and yeah. We'll just work from there. So, we've done the tongues. I'm gonna add another segment in called tongue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tongue. Cool. This is what I do. I don't think it's very recommended doing it that way. Having them swerve with these because this counts as another blend shape, but it helps me keep stuff organized. So I definitely recommend it while working. We've now got the more painful parts, which is all the lip stuff. Get started with. This over to 180. Probably work with this like upper lip inside and all this. The overturn. Okay, this is where blend shapes get funky. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna just quickly microwave my tea because it's getting cold. Sorry, I don't like it when my tea gets cold. Gosh, alright, so... let's do this complex stuff now. We've got this, gals. So we want to do upper lip inside. Remember it like this, right? Your lip, you know, it's turning in with... you know, as they'll say here, you know, biting lip. So, if you do that, you know, the internal of your lip, like the front part is the part being most bit down on, right? And then the rest of it kind of tapers off. And you'll probably see that here, you'll see that it kind of like tapers off. The main part's more bitten. So what we want to do is we want to select the main part. Just before we do that, I'll go to, you know, what's we calling it? Upper lip. Upper lip inside. You kind of want to follow this consistent schedule, or this consistent scheme. Just keeps you going right. We want to turn on proportional editing, and you know, your lip kind of like bends and then retracts like inwards. And then we'll do a little bit of tidy up, and we'll be able to get the look we're going for. Now obviously we're gonna like turn down the intensity of this. You do want to keep deforming the polygons like as limited as possible. That is like my biggest set of advice to people wanting to make blend shapes for the first time. So you'll see that, you know, that's biting down. You got our bottom lip there. If we were to flip that, you know, it's a bit less. Got a bit of weird warping around the edges, but you know, what can you do? Am I right? Then we've got our lower lip inside, so that one, you know, as if, you know, you're biting your lower lip. You know, you have your teeth there, kind of like an anchor point. But then it kind of like folds in. Same thing, you're biting down the center, so you want to kind of like base it off the center. So, lower lip inside. Oh, let me just take a swig of the tea. Jeez, brain's getting cold. Literally, I take a sip out of my tea and then literally like 5 minutes later it's freezing. So obviously, you know, we're turning this. Probably recommend you select those main ones and then you like rotate the rest. You know, we want to bring these ones kind of in. And use the edge loops from the previous sets. And then we'll, you know, raise these bottom ones up here. Move the face. And then we'll raise obviously these up slowly. Now we do all, like, you know, mouth cleanup. Remember, you still got your teeth, so you kind of want your teeth to still be kind of prominent. You just want that lip to disappear. So you'll see, like, there's the lip there, and then it retracts inside of the mouth. And I'm biting down on that now. Now, obviously, you know, this lip isn't beautiful, but it works for what it is. One of the things you do want to avoid doing is affecting the jaw too much, because the jaw is its own separate bone. Imagine them as anchor points. Like, we've got these little muscles in our mouths, and they do all this movement. Everything is wrapped around our bones. Remembering that means that you'll be able to get some more decent... Excuse me. Your more decent results. Alright. Okay. Sorry, sometimes I do need to just get myself together. Lower lip overtone, right? Yeah, you're kind of like, you're pushing out your bottom lip. So they're kind of like, you know, going back and forth. I mean, if you have a look at it from the reference pose, there's not really much different happening with the jaw. Obviously, in like in a real life situation, it's gonna look a bit different, but you know. Sometimes you do need to sometimes just think, sit back, take a minute and try and process what you're trying to do. And it's fine if it doesn't come to you naturally first, you know, and it never usually comes to me naturally on how to do stuff like this. So, you know, we've got our upper, or was it our lower lip overturn. Pretty much the moment this facial tracking's done, I can actually buy myself a facial tracker. That's the whole goal. But, anyway. You'll see that the lower lip from the resting position kind of stays... or the upper lip stays similar. It just kind of like protrudes out a little. So what you want to do is you want to kind of like do this, and then you kind of maybe want to blend it in a little, because obviously, you know, your lip isn't going to go that far out. You're not gonna, it's really only your only like, god, I don't even know what you call it, you know, like the skin part of your mouth. I mean, it's all skin, but you get what I mean. It's like, you know, you're kind of overturn. You want that to look decent. Very important. So have I somehow squeezed in another phase? 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How that? Right, I'm not even gonna ask. You know, saturate it. And then we kind of want to get the thickness the same. We want that to be correct. I'm obviously going to just change, I'm going to make that bit more stretched. I'm going to feel my mouth and I'll notice, oh wait, this one kind of like bends inwards a little. And then these kind of come out a bit more. Now we don't have much poly data to work with here, if I'm being honest. And I also believe some of it's also, God, that's highlighting it all. Select one side and select the other, and then we'll do like a small bit of a rotation just to, you know, add to it a little. You know what it is? It's because that's not holding its fucking shape. There we go. There's your... That's the best it's gonna get. Sometimes you gotta cut your losses. And if it looks bad, you know, just go back and redo it later. It's and now we're gonna do our upper lip overturn. Which is just the same, but it's with the upper lip. So grab our upper lip and protrude out a little. I understand a lot more what they mean about duck face in this version, rather than what they previously stated. So you'll see here. You slowly like bring that up so it looks a bit more curved. And then we'll wanna like retreat some of it back in, because it's not all like, you know, big stretch. No, it's gotta come from somewhere. You're like your upper. There you go. See? Actually, I think the front part of your mouth protrudes more than the rest, so... Oh. There we go. Well, no, you wanna, that's fine there. Maybe even just add a little bit of rotation just to be a bit cheeky. There we go. And now we go to our last step, pretty much the majority of this process, because the rest of it's all jaw stuff. Well, it's jaw, 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 and then the lip stuff, left, right, so on and so forth. It's the lower lip overlay, as it covers the upper lip. And then this one is it's interesting. It's like your lower lip covers your upper lip, like basically to partially up to the weight of your nose. So if you go to lower lip overlay, and then we'll start working on that. So as I kind of said, it kind of like covers your top part of your lip. Does go up a little. Now your upper lip does retreat inwards as part of this. So rotate that, goes back and that goes down. And then we'll go through and we'll slowly bring that all forward. And hopefully have a decent enough mouth. You do want to try and work as mirrored as possible, as you'll see there's like little discrepancies how the drawer is placed. You wanted to make it look like it's curved inwards. That's your main goal. And then with these, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yep. You want them to kind of come out. Get the lower. Now I'm going to retreat some of these back more into the mouth. And then these can come out a bit more. One of the things to remember is that this is probably not the best way of doing things. I don't usually do stuff the best way. You know, it's not something I'm particularly good at doing. Because, well, you know, 3D modeling is just so versatile, so it's a bit hard to say which is a good way. I mean, there are better ways, but there's always another way. So... someone tells you that you're wrong. Sometimes you are, sometimes it's a bit more complicated than that. Alright, looks very upset, so I'm gonna like lower it down a little. Slowly just tinker with it. That's good enough. Still looks very upset, so I'm gonna like still just try and, you know, escalate what it looks like. It's the what do you call it? The Tetsuya. You know, like this solid fixed point. If I was to actually lower it all, it would probably look better. Or lower the front main ones. Yeah, you'll see instantly. It's also show itself a bit more. There you go. And boom! You've got yourself your overlay. Oh. Alright, so now we've got what I call the hardest blend shapes. The stupid lip ones. Now pretty much all I'm going to do for these, compared to the resting face, it just looks like this is shifting, but in reality it's more like rotating, and you can probably see that just about there. And it makes me want to throw my head out of a window when I see stuff like that, but... Go back to our organization. Now, we're only going to actually have to do 2 of these. We're going to use the mirror technique for the left and right, respectively. So we only need to do 2. It's just, it's awkward. This one's just above the cheek sack. So you just want to make sure that these are all kind of in like a logical order. Helps you a lot when organizing your blend shapes. How many blend shapes is that? Too many. That's how many. I've still got another 8 to go. But in reality, we only have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only need to make 5 more out of the 8. So just seeing there's a bit of warping around the, what do you call it? There you go. So... add our new blend shape, we're gonna do the upper lip right. Upper lip right. Now the way I do these ones, where the detail's a bit more, you know, hidden, so I use this reference sheet. Line up the nose like I was earlier. I don't know if I was on stream earlier. Kinda wanna align kind of the seam with where things are on your model. So I've kind of lined up the midpoint there. Obviously, this avatar isn't the be-all end-all, like, you don't need to, like, fully match it, but it's recommended. And then what you want to do is you want to, like... So your first step's probably moving it into position. You'll see here that it kind of, like, shifts. And then we're going to rotate a little. And then do some tidy up. You want to avoid mixing the blend shapes here, to be honest. So, you don't want to do too much of that, and the reason being, it's like, you know, you're affecting a side that you're not really going to touch, or you're going to mirror to. So all that mirrored stuff is going to actually end up on, what do you call it? No, just set this to individual origins, it'll be a lot easier. So you've kinda checked your lineup. It's probably roughly about the same. Sure that you'll see that there's a bit of weirdness to that. I'll try and like fix that a little. There you go. See, so this one's very subtle, and gonna see. With some of these blend shapes, you don't want them to do an awful lot. You want them to like kind of be more hidden. So there, you know, that's moving your lip to the left. Now, same thing as before. Use shape key from mix. Make sure we check our naming convention. It's called upper lip left. And then we can remove that. Turn that all the way down to 0. Turn this one back up. And then we go mirror. And now it looks like one of them's failed. We'll see that there's that weirdness to it. I don't know. Alright, yeah. There we go. See, there's that one vertex that has just failed to check. That's fine. Not every vertex has to do perfect. It's just making sure it lines up. So, they're kind of matching up with the topology. And you should be fine. Now, a good way to test this is by combining them. They should make some abomination like this. But it hasn't caused any massive utter deformation. And also, your lip can't be both left and right simultaneously. Just remember that. You don't have to worry about those ones adding together. The sheet does say, you know... This does not include normal... Your upper lip, and now we have to do the lower lips, and they're gonna be maybe a bit easier. So we're gonna do our lower lip left. Don't know why they do them in this order. Same thing as before. Line up the kind of the mouth and stuff. There we go. Nose more in the center. We'll select our model, or we'll call it, you know, our lower lip left. The center of it to the left. Just as before, you know, that's kind of poking out a little. Gonna rotate that around and then just kind of like, you know, blend it in. What if we were to do our overturned? No, or... Don't really want to do too much. Upper lip left. What about our overturn there? There we go. Now, you don't have to worry too much about the underturn. There's not really much cleanup we have to do on this one, which is quite nice. Same as before, new shape key from mix. Call that the lower lip right. Following our naming convention. Place that, set that to there, and then we mirror. And these ones all mirrored perfectly. We don't have to worry about, you know, re-setting that up. And that's our main blind shape setup. Now it's to one of the scariest parts, the rigging. Yay, like the actual proper rigging. So, what you want to do here is, you've got one-on-one choice, but I'm going to do it the Blender way. Or actually, hold on. UV unwrapping could be nicer. You know what, I'm going to do UV unwrapping for now. Those blend shapes can wait. So we've got a shirt here. It needs to unwrap. So one of the things that I like doing is I like selecting a point. I'm gonna select there, because that's a scene. And there. Oh. No one's in my Discord channel. I got scared there. We go down here, or we'll go into the UV section. We selected our polys, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna press... Where is it? Oh, we're gonna go to UV then. And we're gonna go mark scheme. And what that does is that basically says, okay, you know, if I want to press UV unwrap, it's going to unwrap that shirt completely there, and you'll see that there's a seam where we've marked them. And then these become the arms. Now obviously arms don't line up like that, so one of the more optimal ways of doing stuff is I'm going to choose the underside. And I'm gonna cut that out. Continue down, and there you go. And we're gonna mark this as a seam. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I mean, if you really want to, you can get super in depth and you can actually think where you're gonna mark these seams, like, you know, where the clothing would actually, you know, cut. And then, additionally, I'm just gonna do like a loop down the back for the seam, the main seam. It's kind of a semi-standard practice for me. But now, if we select all of those and I unwrap, you'll see, boom! Well, there's a bit of weirdness here, like it's not fully separating. Don't know why, hold on. Select faces. Where does that connect? And why is it unwrapping like that? Oh, I know. Like this tiny hidden section here. Each of the arms. It's just to give it a bit more depth. But there I'm adding that little extra connection. Now, you mark those seams. Check this, and boom. That should... Oh god, it's still connecting. Why is it still connecting? Is there like 2 sets of polys inside of that? Alright, well we're gonna hide the mesh real quick so we can try and figure out what the hell's happening. Ah, yeah, so for whatever reason, there is just a face sitting in there. For no reason other than just to exist. So we're just gonna go and we're gonna edge delete. And then that should have removed the faces. Should have also made the model a bit more optimal. Body. Yeah, there we go. Now, if I went back to UV unwrap this, it should be in a nicer position now. And it shouldn't go connect. Yep, see? So, the arms here are kind of separated out. Kind of a semi-optimal way of setting this up would be to select that face and flip it 90 degrees, right? Well, right there. So, this is the way I see a lot of characters get unwrapped. Your torso is quite detailed, so you want it to kind of go up here. I'm gonna bring that down. You've obviously got your 2 arms there, so what you want to do, flip 90 degrees, or now it's 180, and you chuck these up here. Now you can scale and shrink these accordingly. I would recommend not using up all the space on the planet, because you do still have stuff like your face and all to go onto this. Now I'm trying to do it in a more optimal format. We're just having it unwrapped. And you can also separate these ones out if you wish. I do recommend giving it just that little bit of padding, because when you draw on it, you don't want these to kind of interfere with each other. And yeah, so you've got kind of a basis there to work off of. Now, the face for the unwrap, or the whole body, this is a bit more of a complex thing. We'll come back to that. Trousers, also very similar. Just remember where the seams are, kinda. Now, one of the preferred ways, or one of the ways I see a lot of people doing it in Vrchat, is seam down the center. Hold on. Sometimes these do get a bit finicky to, you know, select. So seam down the center, you know, that marks it there. And then what that does is that splits it up, and then you go kind of a seam down that way. Now that's going to go into the knee, so you can only go down that. Now you can see where actual clothing seams are. I would recommend you go down that route, because you can then utilize where those seams are to like get some really cool effects. For the demo of this, for this demo, I'm literally just, you know, gonna go into here. You know, that's a cube right now. Unwrap. You'll see there's a whole lot of weirdness. So they're connected somewhere. Where? We'll go, oh well, they're connected there. Let's just mark that as a seam. Because you do want the legs to be semi-separate. So if these are still connected, then there's obviously something massively wrong. This is another one of those situations where there's like two to it. God, Jesus. This is irritating. Really fucking irritating. Great. So that's still all connected by an island, but where? Shouldn't be a single triangle here, so... Where is it? It's right there, isn't it? Only that further seam. Kind of make sure it like bends in. This is just some fixing. I've done some weird merging, and I've obviously merged something together stupidly. So it's never supposed to be in this situation. If you get to the situation and things are broken, it's not very good, and you will not have a fun time fixing stuff. So I would not recommend ever trying to get into this position here I'm in. And now, if I select this, they should be on different islands. But I don't think they are. So, when in doubt, just do the smart UV project. Alright, I'll figure that out at some other point. So our shirt's unwrapped. Hold on, we'll just image checker map. There you go. You do see though that we do have this weird seam down the middle. That's completely fine. Just as long as we use smart projection kind of stuff. So from our screen we project it on. That texture should usually be fine. We'll do the face. We want to separate out the neck and the face. I'm gonna just do it around this point. And you'll see all kinds of different places do different methods. Kind of a traditional one I've seen a lot in industry is the face projection, you know, the horrors and stuff. Yeah, you can have those kinds of setups. So if you think about it, right, how's this face going to project out? You know, the face there's fine, but it's going to like squeeze it all forward and stuff. So we mark the seam here, and then we mark this face as its own separate selection. Well, first I'll just go back to bases. And we press UV unwrap. You'll see that the face has some, well, it's not a traditional looking face, put it that way. Partially a reason for that could actually be just the ears. So I'm gonna select the ear loop, maybe. Hopefully we can address it there. We're gonna just use your backslash to get to this view. Go through and select each of your meshes. Mark those seams, and then we, just like normal, you want to like kind of split it, so come down the same route. You do want to try to avoid using as many seams as possible. They'll stretch out in a funky way, but it's a functional way. Now there is nothing wrong with what happened before. It's just right now I'm trying to, you know, justify it. Just like there. As you see, that butt cheek isn't connected up. So splitting down the middle could be a good choice. Though I doubt I'm gonna fully execute that. I'm gonna, you know, only select the front half. And then I'm gonna like select these edges here. And just similar to how we did the other one, we're going to separate this one out. Go around the loop like that. Then obviously that will fold out around there. The neck folds out. We want the hands to be their own entity, so we're gonna cut off the wrists about there when the loops start increasing. Same with the feet. I'm gonna just cut them off there as well. Mark seams. Now, if I was to go into UV unwrap, I would be able to do like a full unwrap, and you'll see there's the body, these are the arms. These are all, I don't know what this is. Probably one of the feet. But you can see the face there. The face is actually looking decent enough. I think one of the main things is that I've chose to do the loop a bit earlier. If I was to do that a bit later, I'd probably be able to get a better result. So I'm going to quickly just do that. And all of the edge loop reductions around the edge. Here. Mark seam. Unwrap. Feels looking a bit better. I may just remove the seams around the ears. Just to remove the amount of loss of detail. So we're just going to clear these seams. And then I'm going to highlight the mesh and unwrap all. And again, now those ears actually do need to be separated. What do the ears look like? Kind of incoherent, but you know what? I'm sure they've got a much better texture detail. Image, we want to kind of go with our checkered pattern. Checker map allows us to kind of see the level of detail on our model. We'll see here that the hips have a substantially larger amount of detail. So there will be obviously a lot of playing around with this height map, or this map here. Now, doesn't look like it's separating the way I want it to. It is cutting off around. Oh, I think it may be the legs. Just to cut it off maybe a bit earlier, like around there. I end up getting some better result for the body shape. Clear seams. Go into here. Unwrap. We'll see the torso is a bit better there. That's kind of the textile density we want, you know? It's obviously a bit harder to hit, but quite regular shape, very useful. But yeah, that's a lot of what this is now. It's just kind of getting the unwrap to look decent on all of these shapes, which is going to be annoying. And then the idea is that we combine them together in a kind of atlas texture. If I get my paint out here. The way you want to go about it is you have your sections, you've got your skin, you've got your clothing, you've got your face, and then you've kind of got your mystics, which are like all miscellaneous items. And then, so you'd have obviously your, what do you call it, your body and whatever. You'd have your arms, your legs, your hands. That's the kind of layout we want. And then for your clothing, it's kind of similar because they're very similar shaped, you know, your legs, your main body, your shoes fit in somewhere as well. And then you'd go in, this is kind of like, you know, your pins, your high detailed stuff, like your earrings or whatever. And then in here, you know, you got your face. And then you have your other items, so that's like your stuff inside your face, your teeth. And these are all like stuff that you just fit in. And that's the idea with the Atlas. And then the maximum resolution I'd say this should go to is maybe about 4K by 4K. That is like the absolute maximum. Now I am aiming to go for 2K. 2x2, as I'll call them. But I may end up going with a 4x4 instead. Just, you know, because it'll be better. I guess the last major thing I want to do before I finish up today's stream is probably... what do you call it? Officially rigging it, so... But that may involve me combining all of these together, and I don't know how I feel about that. I've been working for about an hour or 2 hours now. May call it quits for now, but I'll come back in a bit. You know, I've done enough work where it looks decent enough. Let's see, I need to get like an actual like overlay texture to see where the grids are. So I'll probably go off, I'll create a bunch of those. The other part is the finalizing the rigging. But yeah, I'm kind of sick of rigging, so I'm just gonna go to UV unwrapping. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna call that quits for today's stream. Hope you've enjoyed learning blend shapes for about an hour and a half. And then the basics of kind of like UV seaming and stuff. I'll probably do a Minecraft YouTuber and be like, so I did some stuff off camera. Stuff while I wait for the next stream. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've learned something. And if you have any questions, just DM me on Discord. Dyslexic #2704. And I'll be happy to help. So see ya. Bye.